Okay, we'll go from that. We got other baseball topics.
Yeah, from the big money teams to the teams that have some interesting storylines in small markets.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of unique things here that we have to talk about. Let me get you the update on the Tampa Bay Rays, the homeless team in the American League. They can't play at Tropicana Field. There are more developments over this weekend into this morning. St. Petersburg, which is on the hook for any financial repairs at Tropicana Field, the Suncoast Dome, is of the opinion this is an insurance-related thing. The insurance companies say this was not an act of God. Well, I don't know what a hurricane would be. Insurance companies are trying to back away from having to put the $55 million fee it would take to replace the entire paneled roof. Tampa Bay sent people to Orlando over the weekend for the second time. They are looking seriously at playing maybe the entire season at the Disney World Stadium. It's a spring training stadium that seats 9,800, could be expanded to over 10,000 because they can't play at Tropicana Field. And it doesn't appear that St. Petersburg wants to renovate Tropicana Field because the thing's going to be torn down in 3 years when the Rays go across the bridge and play in the new stadium in St. Petersburg. They've looked at so many other venues, but they had people went to Montreal a week ago. But Olympic Stadium in Montreal, former home of the Expos, is currently under massive renovation, $870 million renovation. It's a construction zone, and the Canadian government says nobody can play in that facility while the construction's going on. So Montreal is definitely out. I don't think they want to play any type of games in Nashville. They don't want to go to Charlotte. They don't want to play some games in Portland in minor league stadiums. Players Association says, no, we're not going to let you make this be a traveling show. So that is the latest situation there. It looks like Orlando might be the landing spot, not just to start the season, but Orlando might host them for 3 seasons because they can't repair Tropicana Field, or at least St. Pete doesn't want to pay the bill. And the insurance companies are saying, not us. So that's an interesting angle there. Awful situation in Denver. Dick Monfort, Colorado Rockies, at $147 million payroll this year, lost 100 games again. Charlie Blackmon is retiring. They're cutting their payroll. They're cutting from 147, subtract Blackmon's $13 million, so that takes him down to 134. They're attempting to trade 2 of their veteran pitchers, Quantrill and Gomber. They're trying to get to $120 million payroll in what used to be a franchise that drew 4 million fans in Denver and the Rocky Mountain region.
Wow.
That's the latest situation. They've got a really good group of young players that finished the season up on an upbeat note. They kind of spoiled the party for a bunch of teams who are fighting in the playoffs. They don't have enough pitching, but they are going to get a Herman Marquez. They got Kyle Freeland back off the disabled list. They're not going to have enough, but they want a payroll in the 120s, not the 147s, surely not the 180s. It's a bad scenario there. And the last topic here involves Diamond Sports, Bally Sports Networks, in bankruptcy court. Diamond Sports has just reached an agreement with FanDuel to become part owner. Their cash infusion has allowed Diamond now to make a presentation to the bankruptcy people. We're ready to come out of bankruptcy, approve this funding so we can go back to operate. They went back to the teams they had cut loose. They told 11 major league teams, we're opting out of the contract. We'll do your games next year. You got to take a big pay cut. The only one that's taking a pay cut is Miami. But with this new money from FanDuel, they think they're going to evolve and emerge out of bankruptcy. The other 10 teams, though, that they cut loose, the Minnesota Twins, Houston, etc., the Angels, no, we're not doing business with you. We're not taking a massive pay cut because you made a mistake and can't fund it. Those teams are going to wind up under the MLB umbrella like the Padres have had, a successful broadcast. I don't know financially how close they are to what they used to get in San Diego, but it looks as if MLB streaming is going to add at least 10 teams, maybe even a couple more because of this bankruptcy thing. So that's the latest on Bally Sports. Is your backyard big enough for Tampa Bay Rays to play home games here? Hey, this TV studio is big enough. Your comments on the Rays, the Rocks, and what's going to be or not be on your TV in baseball next season?
Well, as far as the Rays are concerned, I understand they're looking at these minor league stadiums, but 9, 10,000, that's just so small. Remember when the Dodgers moved to LA and originally they played in the
LA
LA
Coliseum.
Coliseum? And granted, it was a really short to left field, but they had that big net. I mean, imagine doing that in an NFL stadium, especially like an indoor stadium where you don't have to deal with the humidity. I mean, that could work. So why not pursue some of those options?
Well, Tampa Bay Buccaneers' new stadium is a football stadium. You couldn't put a baseball field in a rectangular football stadium.
Mhm.
The problem they have is, where do they go play? You're gonna move out of state? That's not gonna work. What do you do to your fan base? What do you do to your TV market if you're playing games in Charlotte?
Well,
Uh,
why not Jacksonville? I mean, they've got a football stadium there.
Yeah, but it's a football stadium. It's it these new football stadiums are built like rectangles. They're not built like the LA Coliseum, where you could actually lay a diamond in and have different dimensions. Now these things are too tightly fit.
Oh, okay.
So I mean they've shopped and they've looked. It looks like they're going to be in Orlando, 10,000 seats. They'll do some adjustments. Their union has to sign off on this. But hell, the union just agreed to what's going to happen to the Oakland Athletics up in Sacramento, so I can't see them throwing a roadblock here. But Ray's got a real problem. They're having to be dislocated for 3 full calendar years is not good, because I don't see any sugar daddy coming down the road and saying, I'll pay the $55 million to put a roof on the Suncoast Dome.
Yeah, just for a few years. I mean, that's a stupid investment.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we are there. I'm surprised at Al Lang Field and some of the other spring training sites where they're close, but they are much smaller. I mean, they're like 6,000 seats. They've been talk to go down the road to Port Charlotte, their spring training headquarters. That's like a 5,800 seat minor league ballpark. You're not going to play Major League Baseball, 5,800 seat capacity. So we got that. And then you got the Colorado Rockies and Diamond Sports. Solve those problems.
Monfort is a disgrace in Denver. That guy is one of the worst owners in Major League Baseball.
Line up right behind John Fisher in Oakland.
Exactly. I mean, it's just ridiculous that he's trying to cut payroll. I mean, just, run this like a business and create some hype, get some good players in. And granted, he got cursed by Chris Bryant, but to me, that's just terrible, the whole thing. And feel sorry for Bud Black, and he's kind of stuck there. And as far as Bally is concerned, I think I wouldn't trust Bally if I were one of those other major league teams. You don't know if they're in or out. You don't know what's going to go on with, is it FanDuel or DraftKings is sponsoring? You don't know how stable that relationship is. If MLB can provide a solution, I think that is a win for MLB and for those individual teams. And who knows, the more they get into that group, into that pot that can share resources and scale, then I think, there might only be 3 or 4 teams that would opt out, like the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Dodgers.
Exactly. Okay, that's topics on the table in baseball. You got a solution to Tampa Bay. How big's your backyard? Where should they go? Join us in Fans Forum. Jump on board.